What I found most problematic about The Last Jedi was its cringingly obvious SJW rhetoric, which seeped out of the screen and into my eyeballs with about as much subtlety as pepper spray to the face. The central power struggle in the movie wasn't simply the age-old struggle between my good guys and my bad guys, but a very clear and in my opinion very dangerous presentation of evil men against virtuous women. The key players in this genderized dichotomy are Leia and Rey, who represent the righteous and irreproachable resistance, while General Hux and Kylo Ren serve as the poster boys for Nazi-like space fascists, the First Order. Every single significant power struggle in the movie is played out between men and women. You've got Leia versus Hux, Rey versus Kylo, and Poe Dameron versus a fittingly purple-haired Vice Admiral Holdo. As I'm sure you'll have guessed by now, against all the odds, each of these struggles plays out in the woman's favour. And that in itself wouldn't really be a problem if the characters weren't so painfully two-dimensional. All of the male characters, for instance, are portrayed as being deficient in some way. You've got the reckless and impetuous Poe Dameron, the confused and conflicted Kylo Ren, and then you've got General Hux, who frankly is just shit at his job. In comparison, the female characters seem reasonably well adjusted and well rounded, and always seem to be able to come out on top regardless of the circumstances. In the case of Rey in particular, this approach is Mary Sue territory, as she seems able to match Kylo Ren in a lightsaber duel, having undertaken no training whatsoever. And as for Princess Leia, well, not only is she always right, but she can fucking fly as well. Take that, misogyny. Now don't get me wrong, there are a few exceptions to these gender rules, however, they do tend to support rather than challenge the genderized dichotomy that The Last Jedi puts forward. For instance, the only woman on the dark side with a speaking role is the quote-unquote delightfully evil Captain Phasma, whose female attributes are fittingly repressed by shiny armour and a voice changer. I can't figure out if delightfully evil in this context is oxymoronic or just plain fucking moronic, as the rest of the First Order, or at least the males, seem to be held in utter contempt. Similarly, while there are several significant male characters fighting for the Resistance, notably Poe and Finn, these characters' male voices are continually ignored or dismissed, and they have to resort to mutiny or desertion to have any sort of agency in the oppressive, matriarchal structure of the Resistance. Perhaps unsurprisingly at this stage, this perspective seems to be applauded by the likes of Vanity Fair's Joanna Robinson, who dismisses Poe's insistent and fundamentally good-natured attempts to save the rebel fleet as mansplaining. The article seems to revel in the fact that Dameron gets a slap and a demotion from Leia, once again revealing that neo-feminism is fine with gendered violence. As long as the victims are exclusively male, of course. I mean, Christ, can you imagine the fucking backlash if Poe had turned around and bitch-slapped Leia after all of her failed escape plans? The outrage would be fucking insane. And I think that double standard really underpins the real issue here. I mean, forget the crap script writing, forget the pointless sojourn to a shitty casino planet, forget your crushed childhood dreams. What's really at stake here, and what this movie has been pushing, is an oversimplified, a dangerously oversimplified gender dichotomy. And we all know that Disney has got absolutely no problem in pushing gender narratives. You only have to look at the last century of kids' films they've made to see constant stereotyping and gender reinforcement. It's just now, they're not reinforcing traditional 1950s values, they've come under the ever-looming shadow of the Hollywood SJW agenda. Now, in spite of this, not without a shade of irony, I have to go on record here and say that I genuinely believe that this is the least diverse Star Wars movie to date. Yes, you heard me properly. In a universe jam-packed with a huge variety of interesting species, the movie disappointingly lends its platform almost exclusively to humans, with only token appearances from much-loved alien characters such as everyone's favourite space prawn, Admiral Akbar. What I find more concerning though is that the other aliens that do appear are clearly oppressed, either serving as tortured racehorses for the filthy rich, or dehumanised as a pair of milk-producing space tits for Luke's sole creamy enjoyment. Absolutely disgusting.